What's up, everyone? Villa here. When a new console launches, it will logically get new games. However, the majority of gamers, when buying said new console, now have a stack of older games that they can't play anymore unless they get their older system. But what if I told you that there is a solution to this? A way to play older games on newer consoles? Well, it's been around for a pretty long time, and it is called backwards compatibility. You must certainly have heard these two words before, especially if you're an Xbox fan. But backwards compatibility usually comes and goes. Sometimes it's there for one generation, but then it just leaves, and then it somehow comes back for the next one. Which just has me thinking, is backwards compatibility just a gimmick, or is it actually something useful that gamers really want when they buy a new console? Well, back when the SNES launched, Nintendo got a lot of hate from angry customers because the Super Nintendo could not play older NES games. It's actually pretty understandable, since the Nintendo Entertainment System was still a pretty popular system and still had new releases even when the Super Nintendo had just come out. Nintendo's rival Sega was actually able to dodge that hate by releasing an adapter for the Sega Genesis that could play Master System games. All you had to do was put the adapter inside the cartridge holder of the Genesis, and you can now insert any Master System game that you previously owned. Nintendo never released a first-party adapter for their console, meaning that a lot of people actually liked the Sega Genesis more than the Super Nintendo for that reason. Despite that, Sega still managed to get a lot of hate. Poor Sega just keeps getting the L's. Back to the topic, one company that was actually really good with backwards compatibility back in the day was Sony. When the PS2 came out, it could play PS1 games. And when the first PlayStation 3 came out, it could play PS3, PS2, and even PS1 games, making it a 100% backwards compatible console. However, for some reason, the PlayStation 3 Slim could not. The only way you could without downloading the games from the store was to jailbreak the system. Sony eventually got to the point with the PlayStation 4 of having no backwards compatibility whatsoever. Backwards compatibility seemed dead, until Microsoft revived it for the Xbox One later on. And then, believe it or not, Sony went back to their original roots, making the PlayStation 5 backwards compatible with only PS4 games. Well, it's better than nothing. Xbox has really been pushing backwards compatibility, which makes you think it has to be a good feature. And it actually is. I have used backwards compatibility on my Xbox One S. So for some context, I really like playing Sonic games. One of my favorite video games of all time, actually, is Sonic Mania. From the amazing soundtrack to the clear visuals and awesome gameplay, this game is just so much fun. I cannot stop praising this game, and really do want to talk about it in a future video. If you guys are interested or have a suggestion, don't hesitate to leave it down in the comments, and I will go read them. But anyway, back to the backwards compatibility. So I didn't own an Xbox 360 or a PS3, so I missed out on Sonic Generations, a really good game. However, since my Xbox One S was backwards compatible, all I did was buy the game off Amazon, put it in the Xbox, and was able to play it. It was that simple. So simple, in fact, that I proceeded to buy Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360 to then play that after I finished Generations. So, in short, backwards compatibility is pretty useful. But is it really a number one priority when buying a new console? Well, for me it wasn't, because I never owned an Xbox prior to my Xbox One S. I mean, I bought it because logically I wanted to play the new games that came out, not the old ones. And I think it's the case for the majority of gamers. An example would be that the majority of people who bought a PlayStation 5 bought it so they could play Miles Morales with the improved graphics. And it's the same thing for Halo Infinite on the Xbox Series X. The main reason why new video game consoles get released is because studios need better hardware to make newer games, meaning that if you buy that new system, you're likely going to play those newer games. Backwards compatibility also doesn't make console sales better. The Wii had backwards compatibility with the GameCube, but that's not what made it so well. It's the motion controls. The Wii U, which was backwards compatible with the Wii, sold extremely poorly despite having a huge install base on the Wii. Why? Because people didn't care to play Wii games on the Wii U. They already had the Wii at home. Which then comes down to the conclusion of all this. I don't think backwards compatibility is a gimmick because it's actually useful. However, I don't think it's the number one priority when buying a new system. The odds are, if you buy a PS5, you're going to play PS5 games, and whatever PS4 game you have, you're going to play on a PS4, unless you absolutely want to play it on the PlayStation 5, which is why the feature is important. But calling it a necessity is, in my opinion, over-exaggerating just a little. It all comes down to the gamer. I have an opinion, you have an opinion. In the end, all that matters is that you're happy with your system. Thanks for watching. Don't hesitate to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you next time.